In this video, I'm going to go over the setup I use to trade the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ on a daily basis. Let's go check it out. This is the setup that I use daily. I have two small charts up here, one large one here at the bottom, and I use a DOM here on the side. And then here on the lower right hand corner, I have my quote board and my performance center. The software that I use is Tradovate Trader, and this is what it looks like. This right here is going to be the end result at the end of the video. That way, if you want to have this same setup, you will. The first thing that you're going to want to do is go to Tradovate.com, hover over Platform, click on Download Tradovate Apps, scroll down a bit, and you'll see you're given the option to download for Windows or Mac. What's really neat about this is the software is actually cloud-based also. So you can log in on the website from wherever you're at, and whatever charts you use or however your setup is, it'll be exactly the same. Once you've downloaded the software and you run the program, this is the screen that you're going to get. If you don't have an account already, go ahead and register. Pause the video, and once you're done registering, you can come back and we can go through the next steps. After you sign up and you log in, the next screen you're going to see is this one right here. It's going to have 3 tabs on it: Access Simulation Environment, Sign Up for Market Replay, Access Live Environment. My suggestion would be to access the simulation when you're starting out, just because you're not using real money. You can study your strategy, hone your skills before you actually put skin in the game. Once you start the program, this is what it's going to look like when you first run the program. It's going to have just these generic charts, the DOM on the left side, not sure what this is right here, just a bunch of other tabs here at the bottom. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and clear all of this out. That way we can have a blank slate. Close that one too. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to want to do is go to this plus sign up here at the upper left-hand corner. And we're going to go use legacy chart. Or I mean, not legacy chart. This is the old version. This is the new one. So we're going to click this, hold, drag and drop. And here we're going to, since we're going to use this for NASDAQ, it's going to be NQ. And you'll see this is the E-mini. Go ahead and click that, select, and this is what it's going to look like. So we're going to go ahead and clean all of this up right here. The first thing that we're going to do is get rid of this grid in the background. And the way to do that, we go to chart settings, click on grid, and there you go. Now we have a just plain black background. And in order to move all of these guys right here, all these lines, we can go to configure chart elements, and you can see it has Bollinger Bands, the SMA, and RSI. And we can go ahead and just delete all of these. And now we have this volume profile and this day volume and a histogram here on the side. We're going to use our own, so we're going to go ahead and remove this also. And that's going to be back here at chart settings, day volume profile, go back again, market depth, and now those are removed. The last thing we're going to do is remove these 3 lines. And in order to remove those, we go back to chart settings, price levels, and we're going to click these 3. And there you go. Well, now we have a complete blank slate with the NASDAQ on here, and we're going to go ahead and get started. For the NASDAQ, I use 1 minute, 5 minute, and 20 range. The first one we're going to use is the 20 range, and that's going to be on the large chart. And the way to do that is we go to time period, range, and on size, we're going to place 20, save, and this is what it's going to look like. Now we're going to go ahead and add some indicators. The first one we're going to add is the VWAP bands. And to do that, we go to indicators, nom tools, VWAP bands. And here, everything's already preset. You don't have to do anything. All you got to do is click save, and there we go. You have your VWAP, which is the yellow line, standard deviation 1, which is a purple line, standard deviation 2, which is a blue line. And these lower ones are going to be the opposite. It's going to be -1 standard deviation and -2 standard deviation. The next thing that we're going to add is going to be standard deviation 3, which is going to be a red line up here. And to do that, we're going to go ahead and go back to indicators, back to VWAP bands, and we're going to disable VWAP upper band 1, lower band 1, and we're also going to disable band 1. And for band 2, we're going to type in 3.0, and I'm going to go ahead and change these colors to red for the upper and lower bands. Everything else is good. We click save, and there we go. Now we have standard deviation 1, 2, and 3, and -1, 2, and 3. Next, we're going to go ahead and add the volume profile. And to do that, we go back to indicators, free indicators, volume profile. And here in this section, our profile, we want to change that to gray. We don't want a background color, so we're going to go ahead and change that to black. Where you want to enable the upper value line and change that to green. Also enable the lower value line, change that to red. The value area color, we also want to change that to gray. And here at the time period, basically what this means is this indicator will only show up from 9:30 to 5 p.m. Eastern time. Basically, that's intraday. So we want to leave it there because we want to know the values within the intraday session. So we're going to go ahead and click save as default, save, and you can see now we have our upper value line, lower value line, and our point of control, which is this yellow line, and that's our volume profile. And right now, because we're not in intraday session, this is going to be a line to the left. But during the intraday session, this will actually be here on the right hand side, and you'll see that throughout the day until the end of the session. The next thing that we're going to add is going to be the delta, and we want to go back to indicators, volume based, and it's going to be this one right here, cumulative delta. We don't have to change anything. This is already preset. Click save, and you're going to see it right down here, the delta. So now that we have all our indicators in our 20 range NASDAQ, this is pretty much what I use on a daily basis. And this is going to be the large chart on the bottom. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add the two charts above. And to do that, we go back to this plus sign on the left-hand corner, upper left-hand corner. Go ahead and select chart again, drag and drop until you see it goes up on this side right here. And we're going to hit select, type in NQ, go ahead and select that. And there we go. We have the same exact chart with all the indicators. above the large one down here. So now from here, we're going to do it again. And we're going to add the second small chart that's going to be on the right-hand side over here. So we go back, go to chart. Now we move it to this side. And there we go. Go ahead and select NQ again. And we have the same chart pretty much on all three. Now we have our small charts, and what we're going to want to do is change the time periods. And for the left hand one, we're going to use 1 minute. And for the right hand one, we're going to use 5 minutes. And we're also going to remove delta from both charts. And we're also going to remove this right here. And to do that, we're going to go to Settings, Contract Details. Same thing for this one. And that's looking a lot better. Another thing that we're going to want to do is take off auto fit. And to do that, we're going to go to Chart Settings, Auto Fit, Continuous Auto Fit, and turn that to off. And we're going to do that to all of them. Okay, so now that way we can zoom in and it won't try to auto fit every time. So now we're going to move this up a bit. There we go. This is what it looks like almost. We're almost there. Now we're going to go ahead and add the DOM, and we're going to go back to this plus sign. And the DOM is going to be right here. Just go ahead and click, drag all the way to this side. Let's adjust it all the way to the end. And we're going to go ahead and select NQ. And this is going to be the DOM. And one of the things we want to do while we're here is we want to go to Settings and go to Settings again. And we want to click Show Estimated P&L. Basically what that is once you get into a trade, right here, it's going to show you how much it's going to estimate how much you're going to make based off of your entries and exits. Now we're going to go ahead and add the quote board. And this is going to be right here. Go ahead, select it, drag it, drop it right here on this side. And we're going to add NQ. And we're also going to add M and Q. Then we're going to add ES. And also MES. So this is the NASDAQ. This is the NASDAQ Micro. This is the S&P 500 and the Micro S&P 500. Or the E-mini 500 and the Micro E-mini. Same thing for NASDAQ. The last thing that we're going to add is going to be the Performance Center. And we're also going to go back to plus sign, Performance Center. Go ahead, click, drop. We're going to add it right here at the bottom. We're going to lower this all the way down until all we see is gross P&L. And then we're going to adjust this all the way down. Oh, a little too much. And there we go. And while we're on the quote board, we want to go to settings, select columns, and we actually want to remove last price. We also want to remove change, bid price, offer price, and we just want to keep symbol, percentage change, open, high, low, and total volume. Click save, and there we go. And this is pretty much the end result right here for one of the screens. I do use two monitors. I use one for NASDAQ, and I also use another one for the S&P 500, E-mini and micro. And it's basically the same thing. Okay, so now that the NASDAQ is done, we're going to go ahead and move over to the S&P 500. And we're going to go ahead and click this plus sign, this new tab. And we're going to choose ESU1 for the S&P 500. And this is the micro, by the way, micro S&P 500. And so I don't use any of these indicators. I trade this differently. So we're going to go ahead and remove everything. And primarily I use a tick chart for the S&P 500 minis. And to do that, we go back to time period, ticks. I use a 2000 tick chart. And this is what this one looks like. And I do use the delta on this. So we're going to go back to volume based, cumulative delta, save that, go ahead and leave that there. Going to move it down a little bit. I also do use the volume profile on this one. So we're going to go to indicators, free indicators, volume profile. Everything's going to stay the same. Save. And there's the volume profile. And the last thing that I'm going to add on this is going to be the EMA. And we go back to volume based. Or actually, no. We go to moving averages. Exponential moving average, the EMA. And I use a 21 EMA on this one. And there we go. And that's pretty much it for the S&P 500. And all we have to do now is, in order to have it on a separate window, we can click this right here. This guy, new window. So now we're basically just going to repeat the process. And I'm going to go ahead and fast forward it, and you can see the end result here in a second. Okay, so now we fast forwarded, and this is pretty much the end product right here. It looks exactly the same as the NASDAQ with a few differences. That's because I trade the S&P 500 E-mini differently. So we have the 1 minute, 5 minute, and for the S&P, we use the 2000 tick chart. For the E-mini, but for the micro, we use 950 tick chart. It's a little different. If you were to use the 2000 tick chart, it would look a lot different. But you can see it kind of looks the same from the 2000 E-mini. You can kind of see this right here. And the 950 tick chart for the E-mini looks a little the same. There's some few differences here and there, but it's relatively the same. And here is the NASDAQ, which we also use. So that's pretty much it. That's going to do it for this one. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and thank you so much if you stayed to the end. I know my monotone voice isn't the greatest, but thanks again. And If you have any questions, go ahead and post them in the comments below, and I'll see you next time.